the minutes from the September 18th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to take a look?
Yes.
Yep. Any corrections, additions, subtractions? Hearing none, they are accepted. So then now on to no public input emails. Okay, beautiful. Moving right along. All right. So next up, new business. So Matt Decker, on behalf of the Curran family, requests these Jennings Beach for a celebration of life in honor of Dave Curran, a lifelong Fairfield resident, on Friday, May 23rd, 5 to 10. There'll be food trucks, alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic, and they want to use the screen project for a slideshow. Somewhere between 200 and 300 people expected to attend. Matt?
Yes,
so, and I'll say this to you and
sure.
for anyone who follows, please give your name and address for the record.
Absolutely. Matt Decker, 3200 Madison Ave, Bridgeport. So, my name is Matt Decker. During the day, I'm the zoning officer for the town of Fairfield. I've been long life friends with the Curran family and Gabrielle as well. And Dave unfortunately passed away a month ago, 2 months ago actually. And we picked this day in May because it's his birthday. And we just figured that would be the best. It just so happens to fall a couple of days before Memorial Day and the weekend of beach passes.
Not day before.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So we figured this was it was a perfect day for what we thought would be for Dave and to celebrate his life. We're anticipating between 200 and 300, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. We'd like to also include in that what you had read, tent. Not sure the size, but that would be something that we permit with the building department, and some music, whether it would be live music or some live music as well.
Okay. First of all, did I coach your daughter?
I coached with you with TJ.
Daughter Megan?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, I was just on the wheel, but I was with you, yeah.
I know you.
So that's
okay, so just we'll discuss, and a lot of people have questions. Just a couple things.
Yep.
Will be considered a special event.
Right.
So there will be a special event fee.
Yep.
And especially because of the size and the alcohol,
yep.
There would be a requirement to connect with the police force and have
yep.
some police presence.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, the good thing is it's the day before Memorial Day, so there's not an issue with beach passes or
right.
paying for the parking there.
Right.
So I'll turn it out to you guys. Any questions? Chris and Bridget?
Not a question, just a statement. I want to say I'm sorry for the loss of your friend and family.
Thanks.
I just had a quick question about live music. How does that work at Jennings?
Well, I mean, would it be more acoustic or would...
I think there's things like a raving band.
Okay. So how would it work?
Yeah, like would you need to plug in?
I believe there's power at the concession area there, and they should be open, I would suspect, at least a week ahead of Memorial Day weekend to prep. Would that be something that we'd be able to tie into?
There is power. We would have to double check, what your needs would be. Worst case, they could potentially either bring a generator or rent a generator. I mean, that's always an option too. I'm just thinking when we did Clam Jam there, it was all run on generators.
Okay.
When we do our Beach Bunny 5K, it's all generators.
Right.
I'm just not...
Timing-wise, I didn't really think of that, but generator...
Generator's fine. I mean, if that's what it is, I mean, whatever you deem that we have to do, that's fine too.
And Anthony, what about the bathrooms? I know that was in...
Bathrooms, by that point, are open.
Yeah.
So, they're on a timer at that point.
Okay, great.
So this event would use the pavilion, area, near the concession stand and the beach?
Correct.
Okay.
And we put a tent up the best place possible. I mean, probably right outside the entrance to the beach, just in case of rain or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure exactly the size, but, we'd if that's required, we can always get you the size, to be put on record.
Question, because the police will not be there to enforce the alcohol consumption for non-21-year-olds.
Correct. Well, I can ask them if they would assist us in that, if that's necessary.
Well, I think their presence there will certainly help, but
Right.
someone's going to have to step up and make sure that only legal drinkers
Absolutely.
are consuming.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Just the one issue would be with that location, we would have to talk to our concessionaire to either ask him not to be open there, or we would have to ask you guys to move to one end of the beach or the other, which again might be inconvenient as far as where it is. But if we put you down closer to, I'm just thinking out loud, closer to the marina, now you're far enough away where he could still stay open. He feels like he's not losing business.
Sure.
If you have food trucks, again, if it's pay people to go up and they're paying, then really anybody from the public could go, or again, I don't know how you guys are doing it, but it's just a concern that we would have with the.
I don't believe
with
we're
our
charging
No,
anything, right? We're not charging anything, so I don't know, would it be
Do
possible?
you think by the
utilize them?
marina would be better, or the far side?
Either, I think either could work.
Because
Yeah,
if
either
there's
one
food
works.
trucks, go
Yeah,
on
and then they
the
could stay
far
on Beach
side,
Road,
yeah,
or
opposed
down
to
in
going,
the dog leg. Yeah,
through the,
that might be a better
what's
spot.
the second entrance to the beach from the parking lot as you pass the concession? That area, is that what you're thinking, or are you thinking all the way down by
Well,
Beach Road?
They're talking all the way down near Beach Road, might even be better.
yeah,
Okay.
down as you come
And
in.
that gets down toward the Fairfield
Yeah,
correct.
Racket Club. So
And there's a little pathway.
yeah, there's a pathway there.
Yeah,
Plenty of parking down there too.
Mhm.
plenty of parking anyway, yeah.
Right.
Probably definitely need a generator there.
Yeah.
There.
We've got that on.
Yeah.
Either away from the building, they're going to need a generator.
So the
Yeah.
concession stand is open by
Yes.
then?
He
Okay.
only opens 2 weeks prior to Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
The issue would be a longer walk for the bathrooms.
Correct.
So, Chris?
I just noticed going through the emails with Anthony, so is the fireworks off?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Okay,
told
all right.
that's unfortunately not an option.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Yeah, it's in the
Who is the concession guy?
His name's Carlos. His company is called Antigua Point, I believe. But he's been the vendor there
Oh, no, I was
for
just
a
wondering
number
who
of years.
it was, just,
Yep.
if we,
Would we want to entertain?
well, if we talk to him and work something out with him,
That would
That's
make things
what I
a
was
lot
more
easier
like-
for him, yeah.
It'd make things easier for us.
Yeah.
so whatever it takes to make it
Yeah,
work.
we can
Yeah.
put you guys in touch with him.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
Because, we can have a couple of food trucks, but if we're able to
Yep.
utilize his business as
Yeah,
well and
that's fine.
support him while we're
Yeah.
supporting us,
Yep.
I'd be encouraged to do that.
Okay.
Okay, Jamie?
Is this meant to be an invite?
No.
It's just open to anyone who,
Dave was very well known, loved, liked in town. I don't think we need to do anything other than put it on social media that we've got an event. And, again, we can have 25 people, we can have 250.
I was thinking more the other way, like if there's too many people that come,
Well, I
that you
don't,
can handle, or,
Well, that's what we're going to have the police there for.
and I also think we're doing it far away enough from when he passed away, that, like, we've done a funeral and everything right after he died, I think it would have been thousands of people coming
Yeah.
to the funeral home and things. But I think with something like this,
if you're offering, it sounds like you said you're not charging for food?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm
Okay,
saying,
I thought I
yeah.
heard that.
No, we're here to
offering-
support,
Charging to enter.
yeah, we don't have a fee to get into them, but anybody who wants to buy the food or alcohol,
Okay,
that's on them,
all right.
you know.
I thought I heard no charge.
We're not as, our pockets aren't that deep.
So who would be providing the alcohol?
That's a good question. And I apologize, I don't really have an answer for that, but it would not be something that would be set up as a BYOB. So we would have to come up with an idea and a plan. If we wanted us to get back to you on a written statement for that, I could certainly do that for you.
I would
Okay.
like to know that.
Yep.
Especially if you're, I know if there's food trucks, the food trucks are for profit. But, if someone's setting up a bar on the beach
Yeah,
and, it's
Agreed.
local who just said, hey, I can bartend, we don't necessarily want him down there, making a profit.
People may be showing up the next week and looking for the same thing. Not a good thing.
I'm
Yes.
not sure if we're going to charge them food and stuff. I think we may,
Sorry, Bill, I got you.
I think we might, like, we would pay for it, like, have people just.
Well, then, I think in their concern in regard to the alcohol, then how would we handle that? If we're not gonna pay for that, and we have 250 people there, we're not gonna charge them for it.
Well, I think everybody would have to be ID, maybe to get different wristbands that.
I know.
Right.
That can't come off.
If you, would allow us to provide you with a written, narrative as to how that's gonna be handled, we will definitely do that.
We're just trying to lock the date, and then we'll do whatever we need to do to make it
Yeah.
good for you. So
Okay, and that'd be great, but what we're talking about today is 23rd.
Correct.
Without a rain date. Because if you ask for the 30th,
no.
it would be a completely different story.
No.
We can't push, we can't push summer season out a week.
That's what the tent's for.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if it's, and again, like,
No rain date.
it's a year later, it's 9 months later, so the amount of people will be less just because, but he does have a lot of friends that were, so.
And I think supporting the concessionaire will be a huge bonus for us as well as him to maintain that date with no rain date.
Yeah, he can handle it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Bill, you have a question?
They're gonna need a liquor permit, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that with the state. I've already reached out to them.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a temporary one.
And the necessary insurance and
Yeah.
everything
Yep,
else.
we've got that in the works. They wouldn't give it to us. It was 6-month policy, so once that time comes up, within 6 months, we'll get it for you.
Okay. And of course, we want you to leave the beach the way you find it.
Clean.
Carting out all of the empties or
100%.
glasses and cups or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Chris?
That's a good question, actually. Are you bringing extra barrels and trash bags and?
We will bring and do
cleanup
whatever
crew?
is necessary. I know there's
Okay.
only so many
Do you have
there.
like a dedicated cleanup crew,
Yeah, you're looking at them.
Okay, perfect. All right. That's most important.
Right.
What typically happens, Anthony, with events of that size? Does DPW provide more?
No, they rent them from us.
Okay.
They tell us what they need and.
Okay. And DPW then picks them up the next day?
We do.
Okay, and cart it away?
Yep.
So you don't have to throw it in the back of a pickup and...
Oh, perfect.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
whatever.
I won't supervise that portion of it.
Okay, just hopefully everything makes it
Into the basket.
Well,
That part I'll
That's the
supervise.
key.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Or anyone want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion, Commission? Anything else from the public? Back to the Commission, all those in favor? All right.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, if you could
Good
just
friend.
send that
Email it to Anthony.
to Anthony or to Kelly.
To you as
And
well.
Kelly will
Perfect.
disperse it.
If you give us a couple of weeks, we'll put it all together for you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you in May.
Yes. Please come.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, South Benson Marina rate review for 2025 season. If I remember correctly, the last time we did this, there were a lot of people.
That was a while ago.
I guess the marina is, sliding under the radar. So, thank you. Fees at South Benson have not been raised since October 2018 for the 19 season. Part of the 24-25 budget deliberation, Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance requested an evaluation of the existing slip fee rate. That's just historical data covering the last 30 years of slip fees at South Benson Marina, along with comparison fees for local municipal marinas and 3 potential options for fee increases. Parks and Rec has recommended that upcoming rates be set to round numbers for easier administration. Option 1, average increase 95 to 2019. Number 2, CPI inflation. And number 3, average municipal marina slip fees. So Justin, in advance, just going to tell you, when you present, I'd love to hear your recommendation, which way to go.
I
but, go through everything first.
I got
if you would.
And I wanted to give you guys 3 options to see, to really have it be on your guys' shoulders. So as I said here, we got the 30 years of slip fees because interesting to see how the prices have changed over the years. As you're looking at it, the first column where it says small slip fees, that has the rate based on without tax. The next column over has the tax rate. Then you can also see how many years between fees and the amount that it increased. That goes all the way across for our small, medium, large, and premium slips. Just to try and compare apples to apples, I put in that also a price per foot based on the largest small slip fee, medium, so forth and so on. So we're trying to compare all these numbers back and forth between different marinas and whatnot. So as you can see, from 95 down to 2019, we raised the price a whopping $309, and I broke that down into a annual increase that was basically $12.89 a year from 95 to 2019. So for the first option that I came up with, that's what I'm calling the average increase. So it's increasing from 2019 to 2025 prices, where we come up to that $671.56. Folks following me still?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Because the boaters want to know what the actual price is, not what the tax or without taxes, what they're going to be paying out of pocket. That's in the second column. And then as we recommend, we'd like to get it to be nice rounded numbers, because when folks come in with $631.98 in pennies, it's a real pain. Mm-hmm. So, making it to nice even numbers like 720, 1060, et cetera, et cetera. In that column down there, below the 720 number is the 8802. That's how much it's increased from the current rate to the new rate. In the column to the right of that, you'll see the 3053. That's again going back to price per foot based on the largest boat in that slip size. Also tax pre-taxes, and then also you see it's a 12.2% increase from the current rate, or broken out over a 6-year period of time, it would be a 2% increase. And so I did that straight across the board that way. Any questions on option 1?
I'll make a comment about the math. I don't like the way the math is presented here. Annual increase. Based on my math, just looking at the small slip, the annualized increase is 3.066% on a compounded basis.
I didn't compound.
Right. So it's a little misleading, but if you compound a 285 at 8.7, it's over $2,300. So obviously we're not doing that. But I don't think we'd ever want to present it to the voting public that it's 8.7%.
Okay.
So we just have to be careful how we present things.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It took me. Brian's obviously a little bit sharper than I am, but it took me a second there to figure that one out.
He has a calculator.
Okay.
I can eyeball it.
So my brain still works, but I like what I'm seeing.
All right. The second option was I just plugged in the numbers to the CPI calculator to see what October 2018 prices would be and I had to base it on, August of this year. So that's option 2. Option 3 is taking an average of the other municipal marinas, and that's on that second page. This one I don't recommend because, again, comparing apples to apples, as we all know, our marina is completely different than all these other municipal marinas without having finger slips.
What's the closest marina on this list in comparison to Fairfield?
The Cove Island under 17 feet is the only spot that Oz has frog arms. And even that isn't quite the same.
And do all these Westport, Greenwich, Guilford, do they all have slips? Fingers?
They all would have finger docks, electricity except where it's marked in Greenwich. One Guilford that says moorings, that would not be, obviously, that would be on a mooring, not in the marina.
You know, and from history, anytime we had a conversation in comparison to other municipalities, the first argument was, well, you can't compare ours, and they're right.
Correct.
You can't, when we were trying to redo it with fingers and everything else, then maybe there was a fair comparison to these other municipalities, but the way it is now, it is not a fair comparison to, one of these with fingers and everything else.
Correct. And you'll notice that those Stanford rates are quite low, but when I was talking with the manager there, they haven't raised their rates in 10 years, and they're also in the process of doing a major renovation to Cove Island Marina right now. So when they're done with that, they'll probably be readdressing their rates at that rate.
So unless someone really, really feels strongly about the third option, we can just tuck that aside.
Right, and it's basically, though, just to show where we are, get the average rate of all those, and you can see where we are compared to all those others. Currently, we're at 62% for a small slip, 61% for the large slip, about 71% for the medium, and 74% for the north eye slips. But that gets, when we get into the premium slips, it gets a little tricky because they're not that premium.
Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if we go to the medium on this page.
Yep.
And we go down to the lower level, I see 1,000 to 1,063, $45.45. You see that?
Yep.
Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. And then I see 992 to 1,060, and then I see 11.2. What's the 11.2?
That was the 11.2 was the percentage increase from the 885, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Okay, so
Let me just
992 would be 2025 rates. The 1,060 is where you want to round that up to.
It would be the rounded up.
Okay.
With
Got it.
tax.
So we're just missing a little bit. So that's a one. So that's the 118.80, right?
The current rate for that medium slip is up above. It's 941.20 with tax. That's tax included. What he's doing down below, that bold 992 number he's giving you, that is the number before the tax. Once he adds tax in, it goes to 1060.
Okay.
It's $118.80 higher than the current rate.
That's an increase of 1.9%.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, it's one. So what's the 11.2 then? That's what I'm confused on.
992.69 is 111.2% of 885.
No, I get that. So the 11.2 is That's what I'm confused, like, I see all these 11s and 15s and 19s and 38s.
Let me see if I can pull that one up again.
That's where I'm confused. Like,
I guess you're trying to answer, what you're confused with 11.2?
versus the 1.9. What? It's just not, it doesn't read well to me, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if we're keeping this, you know, inflation's at 8% right now, we're keeping this down at 2-3%, that's a home run.
So the
Inflation's down 8% right now, but.
I mean, have you been to the grocery store?
Well,
So the
that's
bottom
not how
line
you,
is you're going
that's
from
not how you.
941 to 1060, is what you're recommending. 941 to 1060.
So the 11.2 is the difference between the 941 and 1060.
Yeah, right, so it's 11% increase.
Yeah,
over current
11.2.
rates. That's what.
The total, and then I just divided that by the 6 years to get that 1.9%.
Got it.
Not
I
compounded.
see.
Okay.
I got it now.
All right.
Now I
Following the math?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Now I got it.
All right.
So essentially, it should just be a 1.9% increase, averaging it out for the past X amount of years?
Correct.
All right.
But we haven't increased anything
For the past, yeah,
6 years.
So this would be a really nice number to present.
Could you
For the
know,
public.
with the
They'll
projected
see it
revenue
as
increase
11%
from options 1 and
That's
2?
the point. That's a huge number.
Yeah, so from option 1, we were about 90,000, which is a big chunk in my revenue. Option 2 was 132.
So,
Option 1 is plus 90,
Correct.
option 2 is plus 132?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
I think there's,
But
I think the other thing I'd like to point out, obviously, Justin made it clear we haven't raised rates in 6 years. But with that being said, what we continue to hear from the boards is that we need to raise rates. You know, we have to at least look at the rates, see where we are in comparison, which he did. You know, $118, $88, $200, $240. How long are these wait lists? And I think that's the other thing to keep in mind, you know, when you're doing this. I mean, for a small boat, how long is somebody
small
on the wait
boat
list?
right now, 3 to 4 years. Medium slip.
How many people are on that wait list?
150.
Medium, what do you,
190 people on it, and I would say 7 to 9 years.
and the large in north?
For north, let's keep that separate,
Okay.
but large, 450, and it's all in 11 years.
So if we came back to the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance with a 132,000 increase, are they going to be satisfied, or are they going to say go back to work?
No, I think they'd be satisfied. I mean, I think if you came in, I think we come in and we show them, well, look, we're going up almost 11%, 11, 12% across the board over the last, you know, to make up for the last 6 years. I think everybody's pretty satisfied with that. I think knowing our boating community, I think you will see additional turnover from people that are just, I'm not paying 12% more. And I think that's my point of, well, we've got a wait list. So the wait list isn't going to be 11 years anymore. It might be 8.
And the people who will, you know, say, you can keep my slip, are the ones who aren't using it anyhow. And, you know, we'd rather get people in there who are going to enjoy it.
Why are we not just doing 2.5% every year?
Okay, and it's interesting you said that. I was going to remind you, you probably don't remember, but when we had that meeting at Penfield,
I remember that.
Oh, my
No, I remember it well.
Phil, and at the time Scott was the chair, but my suggestion was to follow the CPI index, which, you know, Scott quickly pointed out, we can approve this year, but we
1 year
can't.
at a time.
Yeah, and, but, so, I, for one, like the CPI, and I think what we should do is put it on the agenda for, you know, define, you know, we can only do it
1 year at a time.
1 year, but we could put it on our mental agenda to do it in 2029, or maybe not even wait 5 years to do it
Yeah,
again.
you can do that.
Right, and, you know, the nicer thing about doing it biannually or every 3 years, something like that, it's smaller. It gets us where we want to go, but it's a smaller increase each year as opposed to
It's a better
passing 10 years like Stanford and saying, okay, well, we're just going to do the CPI, but CPI compounded over 10 years is a 50% increase.
Right. And, well, no, I'll give you an example of that. Probably about 10 years ago, it cost about $11 to play 9 holes of golf. And then they shut it down, the back 9, and you had to pay the 18-hole rate, which was like $24, $25 that. You know, and everyone was like, oh my, so no one played the back 9. Completely shut it down. Then they, Golf Commission reopened it after a year, and everyone was playing. Now it's $25 to play 9 holes
24
on the weekends.
Yeah.
So
I was there last Saturday, I know well.
But there's a line, there's a lot of people now. But so over time, we just accepted the fact, like, well, it was $1, and it went up $1 each year, and $1. Now where it was 18 holes is now 9 holes, 10 years later. So I think if you just do small increments, people just sort of, it's over time as opposed to sticker shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed. Yeah, I would be all for, I don't know, if you were going to make a recommendation, which one you would support, but I certainly would support the CPI increase into option 2 and, put it on the calendar for October of 2026 to revisit.
Gotcha.
Every 2 years. Yeah.
So that allows us every year to increase.
Every other year.
Why is it every other year?
I don't know, Brian said.
I trust the chair.
Again.
No, it's fine. I mean,
that's
I'm with
my
you.
opinion. So we're not.
I agree.
We're not sending it an increase to
the
voters every year.
I got
but we also don't wait and give them another.
No, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And the other thing is, we had that monstrous group in Penfield that time.
Fire alarm.
I remember.
What about
They shut down here, and had to use it.
But no one's going to come out if it's a $6.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then when you explain it to them, you're like, look, it's like 1.8%.
But that was probably also when we were trying to redo the marina.
That was part of it. Yep,
And
that was part of
we
it.
had a couple of the people on the commission, the various subcommittees, who were very involved, and they were the ones who spread the word to get out there.
Yeah.
Well, and it was also part of the reason why I put the history in. You could see that it was done in 2016, 2018, or 2015. October of 2015 they voted on it. October of 2017 they voted on it, and then October of 2018 they voted on it. And so I think that also led to some folks being upset that it was three raises in 4 years.
Yeah, and I think we dropped the ball too.
That's why I've been involved in all since 2007.
So my numbers are right there?
Yeah, I think we dropped the ball on that though too. I think we were just happy to get rid of them. We should have actually probably instituted this years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're doing it.
And to be honest, everyone was like, people were definitely like, oh yeah, it's great, the rates haven't been raised. And I'm like, yeah, what else are you paying 2018 prices for in your life right now?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Especially with 8% inflation.
It could be like
That's
even
generous.
higher, to be honest. That's low. Come on.
So what would the timing be if you wanted, say, to introduce a new rate along with sending out?
So renewals go out in mid-December with a third Wednesday in February deadline. So this year I think it's February 17th, 2025. So we would need to know by mid-December. So if you guys want to make a decision today, great. If you need to mull it over and then come back.
The other, just again, my opinion. I hope everyone voices their own opinion here. But my other reason I like the CPI is because there hasn't been any real consistency in the the option one, while it is very close, annualized at 3.06 versus 3.2, and the numbers are very close. Number two is easier to explain to everyone. The randomness of the history of increases that brings us to that 8.7 number. There's no teeth behind it. There's no meaning to that.
Right.
Because it's just very random.
And it was one of those, like, I was basically looking at how either internally with how we've increased it, just like, okay, and if I only went back to 99 or if I had more information that went back to the 70s, it could have changed as well. But, it was
Inflation was rampant in the 70s. But.
Yeah, maybe they should have.
It takes out the subjectiveness.
What would option 3 generate?
I didn't even crunch those numbers because that was just something so that we can still compare back of we're at 76%.
Right, big number then.
And Bill, this was before you were on the board. When we went through all this, I think it was like 2016, when we had 400 people, in a room. The Board of Finance wanted us to compare to other, even private marinas,
Right.
Yeah.
and it was a no start.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I just was curious for option 3, how much,
And I have private numbers here just for your own edification, but Captain's Cove is paying $85 to $120 a foot, so that's.
But they have amenities.
They're next to a sewage treatment plant. Same with Cedar Marina. They're paying $100
And restaurants and bars.
to $105
Yeah.
bucks a foot. Now we can get to the
You
nicer.
don't know that.
Yeah.
And a full staff.
So it's
All right. And what any thoughts? Ideas?
I would love to make a motion for option 2.
Okay, are we
I mean, I don't know.
discussing?
Anybody else want to talk?
Just a vote for CPI, it takes the subjectiveness out of it, where we're not just making an opinion, we're following an accepted principle.
And the other thing too, it builds on, right? So that 2% year one, it's not like 2.1 year 2, and then it's 2.4 year 3, and then all of a sudden, there's your 8.7, but in reality, it's probably closer to that 11.9, and nobody's really feeling that.
No other questions if you want to have a motion. I'm sorry, one last question. Is that what were you going to recommend?
I was trying to.
I'm holding your feet to the
Yeah,
fire.
no,
I want to hear.
I'm trying to dodge that question because I could see it going either way. I think the CPI is easier because it's less subjective. I can see the argument for the average increase because that's what we've done, and that would be a lower rate that I think the slip holders might be more. They would probably prefer the least of the increase as possible, but I think both of those are valid ways to go. A lot of people might say, "Oh, we haven't done any major improvements to the marina," but I would say otherwise. We dredged the marina channel, increased safety with the life rings and the ladders, cameras. All those things we've done to the marina in the last 5 years while I'm here.
Well, and also to Chris's point, I'm not going to make fun of the number anymore, but the bread I'm eating and buying at the supermarket and the eggs I'm buying at the supermarket are the same as 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the price is very different.
My guards were making $10 an hour when I first got here. Now they're going to be making 16.
Right.
So.
They should probably get paid.
Just a quick question. The last time, this is not technical, so I'm just taking it all in. The last time you introduced a change, how much turnover did you see? Like, how many people backed out and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be here"?
Our turnover has typically been roughly like 10%.
Okay.
I don't know.
It didn't peak or
I don't
didn't
think
rise above the
Okay.
normal there.
Yeah.
So if you go with like option 2, what are you thinking? Like, you said 150 for the small, like there's a wait list for 150, 190, 450, so roughly 10% are going to back out again?
I would say it might be, I would feel confident at the 10%. There might be some other folks who have held onto a boat for a while, and it's almost cheaper for them to store their boat at our marina than it is to get rid of it. I have a slip holder that I was talking with today who's looking at getting rid of his boat, and gave him some options of how to get rid of it. And, you know, I was like, you know, you do that, and it's going to be a year and a half of slip fees, but it's going to be gone.
It should give some people a chance.
So, you know, implement option one, but then going forward, use the CPI.
I was thinking that too. You know, maybe just
So
pull the
it's
plug
not
on
as
that,
big of a hit
right?
this year, and then
To satisfy the Board of Finance.
Yeah.
I still think in my opinion, there's too much randomness in
Correct.
Option one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you know, really nice justification, and it gets us $42,000 more for the selectmen, and, you know, the difference between 1 and 2 is not that significant. If there's a few more people who pull out, you know, so be it with the waiting list. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, in my opinion, checks a whole lot of boxes, you know, and any marina, any boat owner comes up to me and says, well, why did you do this? I have a really good answer, and I could support it.
okay. That's going both ways, you know.
No, there's
Option
it's
three,
sorry about that. It's apples and
middle.
oranges, right? I mean, there's no wrong answer to that one.
Thank you. Nice
Doesn't sound
presentation.
right.
See, I'm not the only one that's
I just hear that.
hedging their bets on which way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we got to make a decision.
Right.
So, you know, come up with the best arguments for 1, 2, or 3, and, you know, we'll make a decision here, which will give you plenty of time to implement it with the new applications. So, Chris, I think you were starting to make a motion.
I'm going to withdraw from that for a second.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So, if there's no other questions, anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I gotta word it the right way.
That's why I withdrew.
Make a motion to accept option 2 with regards to 2025 marina slip fee rate increases based on CPI inflation calculator from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
No, I know. It's just much better.
Okay, anything further? Further questions? There's no public here, and there's no one on the line. Is there? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? No one? Okay. Great.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the options
That was good.
too. It's
Yeah.
like-
Excellent.
A lot of numbers.
Very
Thank you.
Compounded.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to give me on that.
I was getting nervous when I saw them now.
I like numbers.
I'm a boat guy.
Great,
All right, no Board of Education, unless it's provided anything?
Nope.
Okay, and directors?
Director's report. I gave you guys our annual report that I put together at the end of the fiscal year. Obviously, just finalize it this week. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. You guys can read it at your leisure. But just kind of gives an overview of everything that we've accomplished throughout 2024. Different statistics. You know, it's kind of an interesting the impact by the numbers page. Talks about all different types of things, as far as fitness center members, to memorial benches, to shellfish permits, sponsorships, rounds of golf. Just shows, you know, exactly where we are this year. All those numbers are up compared to last year. Then I do a page about your dollars at work that actually show our actual expenses by different budget versus our revenues. And this year we made about $13,000 overall, which I don't know another Parks and Rec department in the state of Connecticut that actually turns a profit like we do. But we do this year in and year out. Even though this year was was less than we normally do. It was only $13,000. I mean, it's basically break even in about a $6 million budget. But, you know, the fact that we're still covering all our expenses, like I said, we're not subsidized as much as some other departments. The Parks Projects page, you know, kind of gives you a little map and overview of a lot of the larger projects we touched upon this year. We got things done, things from, you know, comfort stations down at the beaches to the first adult fitness park at the senior center in this area of the state, to some ball field rebuilds, to parking lots that we've been redoing. If anybody lives over near the Owen Fish side of town, we just repaved Owen Fish. We just repaved, we actually just paved Doogie Yellow softball. So lots of good projects that are happening. One of the biggest projects that I mentioned in words here, but it just broke ground a couple weeks ago, is the Ludlow Turf Fields project. I know a lot of you guys have been hearing about that one for a while, but that project now is underway. So we're hoping to have that field up and running right around May 1st. So provided it's a nice mild winter, we'll be able to hit that target. So
that's our project?
That's our project.
That's a Board of Ed, I thought.
Nope. Yeah, we run all the fields outside of the two high schools. Two high schools have their own properties, and then we run everything else.
Wow.
And Jen was saying, too, last meeting, that they got $2.5 million to turf. Was that
I don't know. I think they got $1.5. I think they're going to be asking for $1.5 for Ward to do the soccer field.
Oh, it's a soccer field.
It'll be the practice soccer field.
Yeah, all right. I was just there for
but they're still in the beginning stages of
another year away.
Going for that money and the project and what they want to actually do with it.
And is it just going to be a soccer turf, or is it going to be multi?
I believe it'll be a multi-purpose, which would make the most sense. But again, I'm not involved in that project. Angelos Papa George has reached out to me, just trying to get the ball moving, get him pointed in the right direction.
But not our purview at all.
But it's not our, nope, not within ours at all.
Great.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll ask you a question when
Sure.
only if you're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, do yellow.
Mm-hmm. So it's with the design firm right now. I'm hoping to have a plan, I would love to say by the end of, I guess it's the end of this month, by the next meeting. So.
Okay, and the other place, what
Giant Steps.
Giant Steps. What's the campus called?
Walter Fitzgerald. Walter Fitzgerald is the alternative high school. So just to kind of give you guys a preliminary on that, I don't have that plan in the works at the moment. The new administration, the current administration, is carrying our $3.4 million, I believe it's $3.8 million for the Doogie Yellow master plan upgrades is what we were calling it. So that's on the chart for a couple of years out. So
and that includes the front,
currently does, even though we don't know what, no, that's being worked on now.
Not
the driveway.
The practice facility in front.
Nope.
Does not include 3.8.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
That's separate.
Separate. Okay. And then we're carrying $10 million for the Giant Steps project. But again, I don't know what that's going to look like. They have our master plan. They weren't necessarily fully aware of our plan. I showed it to them. Now they're aware. They put the $10 million on. Thought it was great. So I know they're still evaluating the dilapidated building that's on there to see if it's even structurally sound to maybe rehab, which obviously was not part of what we wanted to do. But they think that if it is, that they'd be able to keep the building and still put fields in. So again, they're leading. No, but they're leading. My point is they're leading the charge on that right now.
So Bill, Brian, and I were on the master group subcommittee. We spent a lot of work on that. I think we did a good job. A couple things. That's the company from Rhode Island
that did the master plan? Yeah. I don't remember where they were from. They might have been from. They may be. Right. I don't remember.
That company, right. So two things. We had discussed, and I don't think it was in the master plan, there was an ability to not have to come through the cul-de-sac, right? So you'd have an exit, maybe at the cul-de-sac, and we could come in through one of the main roads for an entrance.
That's what the administration is that's part of what
Yeah.
they're looking at.
And then, what about the neighbors?
Again, this is going to be a fight that the administration is going to lead.
Okay.
When
The idea was we didn't want traffic coming in and
Yep.
out on an 8-house street.
Oh, I explained this all to the administration when I sat with them, and they mentioned this plan. I said, well, we already have a master plan that, high-level view has already looked at this, and they love the fact that we had another entrance. And,
Correct, like
and all
one way
that.
in,
So,
one way out.
So for your information, so the Walter Fitzgerald campus has approximately 10 acres. And then there's
Oh, it's like 35.
Well,
and then there's a contiguous 30 acres of woodland behind it.
Yep.
And coming into it is through off Mill
Mill Hill
Road.
It's like one road in to the campus. However, the contiguous 30 acres would leave a lot of other options for potential entrance ways, so that you could do one way, so you wouldn't overload a single neighborhood if we were to put a couple recreational facilities back there.
but the good news is it's on the waterfall chart with the capital planning group. So.
Just a quick question, off topic, different thing. The Gold Manor, when you guys did the rebuild, the mound looks good. There was a batting cage that was donated, I believe, right? That's there now?
Not at Gould.
Gould has a batting cage.
No, it doesn't.
Mill Hill.
I'm sorry.
Melville does.
No, Gould.
Gould does not have a batting cage.
No.
Yeah, so it's.
Mill Hill has one.
Sturgis has one.
I'm sorry, Owen Fish.
Owen Fish has one. Yep, Owen Fish has
Gold.
one.
Yeah. I know I said Gold. Owen Fish. Do we have any plans of putting one at Tungus, the lower Tungus Field?
The master plan calls for one. With the engineering project with the Rooster River, we're hesitant to install one at the moment. I want to see how that plays out and if we keep the field.
Okay.
Because right now, what's happening with Connecticut Deep and whatever the other group is, I apologize, I can't think of their name off the top of my head. They're looking at solving the Rooster River flooding issue.
Okay.
And part of that solution that they'd like is to take lower Tungus Hill Field away from us and making that a detention pond.
Oh, wow.
I've written to Deep saying, please don't do that, and if you did do this, you'd need to give us some land to make up for that loss. So I believe it's going to. I believe there's a public hearing on it soon. It might be later this month. I know I saw the posting recently from the First Selectman's office. They sent it to me saying, hey, here's where the neighbors get to come out and speak. So, but the flooding there is a real issue. But yes, it would go along the first baseline on the master plan, along the first baseline, out in basically in right field.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
That's it.
And for the good of the order, let's go Mets.
Go Mets.
Oh yeah, that's
808.